Doing a quick video or review, not a how-to, but at least a little bit of a review on this painless wiring system for my 61 Chevy Impala. You can see that's the modern fuse box, the horn relays on there, the turn signal relays on there. It's a very good kit. This is the second time I've used the kit like this. All the wires are plenty long, and they come bundled in basically 3 sections. One section is going to the rear of the car, which is simple. It's just your gas sending unit, your tail lights, your backup lights. So there's like 5 or 6 wires there. And then there's a bundle that goes through the firewall to the front of the car, and that's pretty simple. That's just your engine coil, your starter, oil temp sending unit, water temp sending unit, and then your headlights, turn signals, and your horn. So there's like maybe a dozen wires that go out there. Majority of the wires you can see in this bundle is going to go to this to your gauge cluster, which I have right here. The thing you need to be aware of is these bulb sockets. None of these bulb sockets are included in the kit from Painless, so you're going to have to reuse some of your old stuff, and I would suggest keeping your old harness until you complete the job. I would also suggest, I found faults in my old headlight switch, my old neutral safety switch, my old turn signal switch, which is up here, and also my dimmer switch, which is down there. So those are all new parts that I had to buy, myself separately. And that caused me some slowdown and problems putting the whole thing together, because I was finding things that weren't working, and it was actually the old switches. So hang on to your old wire harness like this that you pull out of your car, because you might be cutting off bulb sockets. I didn't reuse any connectors. This is the connector, the original 1960 connector for the headlight switch, but it's pretty chewed up. So I just used spade connectors that were included in the kit. Same thing, the ignition switch, 60 years old, very bad condition, probably ready to catch fire. I didn't reuse that. I'm just using spade connectors to the back of the ignition switch. I did buy these connectors separately. This connector I wired to the new Painless wiring system, and then the other end is going here to the back of my gauge cluster. Has all the gauges, the dash lights, the turn, everything that goes to the back of this thing. So I'll just be able to plug that in, and then plug in my ignition switch here. My new headlight switch has spade connectors. I'll just put that in the dash. And then also I have a connector that I bought for my windshield wiper motor, which is new, which I'll just plug in to this one here. And then also I replaced the dimmer switch down here on the floor. That was bad, and that was acting up and giving me errors when I was hooking up my headlights. So keep all your old stuff that you pull out. You'll definitely use your bulb sockets. Underneath the hood here, I changed to a 1-wire alternator, so that's wired in here. All this is new wires. So like I said, these wires are going to so there's a fuse box here, big fuse here. You get rid of your old voltage regulator and also your horn relay. Get rid of this whole abortion of wires that came out of the front end of this car. Basically, the front wires are just going to the headlights, the turn signals, and the horn. There's not that much. And then coming through the firewall here across, you've got a wire going to the coil, and then a wire going down to the starter, and then you have wire going to your temp gauge and your oil pressure sending unit. They do give you a lot of extra wire for stuff like a tachometer. If you had a electric fan relay, all of that stuff is wired into the new system. But if you don't have those things, power antenna, you're just going to end up, like I said, with these pieces here. I'm probably just going to cut those off. I'm not using those. So just kind of a general review of the entire system. I would say skill level is a 7 or an 8 to do this job. These people do have an 800 number if you have problems wiring your car. You just call them up, tell them which wire harness you have, and they have really good guys that can kind of walk you through it. Also, I suggest having a test light. A test light like this, so you can go around and probe and see what's hot wire and what wire is not hot. But all in all, it's a pretty good system. This is what they give you for connectors and that kind of thing. So you're not going to get the real bulb sockets, so you need to keep your old bulb sockets. I did not use any of my old 60-year-old connectors. I just used the spade connectors, as you can see on that new headlight switch. So anyway, it's just kind of a short review. It's a good system. I definitely recommend it. But you're definitely probably going to have to replace a lot of the peripheral stuff, like the headlight switch, neutral safety switch, turn signal switch, the dimmer switch on the floor. All this stuff is going to be faulty or partially faulty, besides your wiring being, shitty after 60 years old. Like I said, skill level is probably a 7 or an 8. I would say if I did this job start to finish on another car, I could probably do it in 8 hours, 8 consecutive hours. I wouldn't want to do it that way. I need a break from this kind of stuff. So probably 2 or 3 hours a day for 2 or 3 days, and you would have the whole thing done. I'm actually, doesn't look like it, but I'm actually done here. These 2 white wires are my dome light. I just haven't done the headliner yet, so I haven't hooked that up. But I am about 20 minutes away from hanging the dashboard back together. Just the loose wires are like the radio connections. It's connected, but it's just not plugged in. All that stuff is basically plug in now. Also, I got to run the heater cables, but new heater cables. But basically, it's like I said, it's just kind of a review of their system, and it's really nice. It's definitely worth it. I've got everything working again, no problems. And good luck to the next guy trying it. It's not too bad.